if you are in the market for a larger camera monitor, today I'm going to make your decision real easy for you. So let's get into it. Hey, what's up? I'm Scott and welcome to the channel. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing. Today we're going to be talking about the Osee 15.6-inch monitor. In the past, I've reviewed Osee's T5. I've made several videos on their T7, which is one of my favorite on-camera monitors. It's high bright, it's 7 inches, it's got a ton packed into it. And I've also reviewed their larger 21.5-inch monitor that I've used for a while now on set in the studio, but it was a little bit overkill for me. And so when I was looking for a new option for bringing on set and for using around the studio, not an on-camera monitor, then of course I was looking to Osee, and this right here has been absolutely perfect for my needs. It's not perfect overall, but it has been perfect for my needs, and I think this is going to be a wonderful monitor for a huge range of people. It's a really good medium size, medium price, but it's fully packed with all of the great things that Osee has to offer. So today let's talk about why I've fallen in love with this monitor. But to be fair, we're going to start off by talking about the three situations or the three types of users that I think might want to pass on this monitor. And if you're not in one of those three situations, this is the monitor for you. Now, the number one case, of course, is if you very specifically need something larger. Now, I found that this size, 15.6-inch size, is absolutely perfect around the studio where I'm working, 5, 10, maybe 15 feet away from the camera, and I just want to see my framing and sometimes my focus, things like that. And I've also found it to be great on set when you have maybe 2 or maybe 3 people looking at the image critically, maybe a focus puller, maybe a director or whatever. Or if you have maybe probably around 5 or 6 people, clients who just want to see the image, they want to see what's going on, but they don't necessarily need to get close and look critically. But if you have groups larger than that, more people looking more critically at the image, or more clients that want to see what's going on, or some other situation that you know probably because you've been in that situation, then maybe you want to consider something larger. For example, their 21.5-inch monitor, and they do have others as well. The second situation, and not necessarily the second in terms of importance, is if you need something brighter, specifically for outdoor use. Now, this is not a high bright monitor, and Osee does have a high bright monitor. That 21.5-inch I reviewed before is 1000 nits, I believe, so it was great outdoors. This does struggle a little bit. It has a built-in sun hood in the case, which we'll talk about in just a moment, one of my favorite points, but that barely gets you by when you're outdoors. It's not impossible. If this is all you have, it will still get the job done, just not as well, of course, as a high bright monitor. Indoors, it's absolutely fine, but if you need a high bright monitor, again, you'll know that you're in that situation, and you might want to consider another one of their choices. And the third is if you need some kind of built-in, for example, picture-by-picture type of software where you can use the multiple inputs that are on the back of this monitor and show multiple camera angles at the same time, side by side on screen, for example. Now, there's no software built into this particular monitor for that. Osee, again, I believe does have other monitors that does have that software built into it. So if this is not going to satisfy your needs in that case, then again, check out one of their other monitors. There may be solutions where you can use a third-party device to get both of those angles on screen here. It might be less than ideal, maybe, than compared to native software, but again, that's going to be probably one of my only other situations that I can see where you really would not be satisfied with this monitor. And again, in that case, just check out one of their others. But again, like I said, I've always loved Osee monitors, and this has all of the things that I love about it. It's got that great focus peaking software. It's a great value for money. It's built really well. You've got the option for plugging this into the wall. You've got the option for battery power. You've got multiple SDI and HDMI inputs on the back of here. It's just a very full-featured monitor. This one also comes with a cheese plate on it, so you can mount things like a wireless receiver. It comes with the little mount for mounting it on a C-stand like this, for example, and it does also come with some little feet if you're sitting on top of a table. Now, the big thing for me with this one in particular, and I wish that this was available for more Osee monitors of different sizes, this comes with an amazing carry case. Now, it sounds like a stupid thing to really go on about, but for me, let me put this down. One of my biggest complaints about the 21.5-inch monitor was not using it on set. It was getting it from my studio to the set, and I'm often working by myself or with a very very small crew, so I had to put that thing in a huge SKB hard case and lug that along with me. It was not something I could carry together with a bunch of other stuff. It's basically like a messenger bag, and it has a shoulder strap and everything, and you can fit the monitor in here, and you can use it just like this because there's a little hole, a metal reinforced hole on the bottom here that slides right through into the mount that you can put it on top of a C-stand. So you can just bring this on set like this, boop, pop it on top of a C-stand, and then you can open up the front flap, which doubles as a sun hood, and just start using it. You can also open up the back and get full access to the battery mount, to the inputs, to all of that good stuff, to where you're going to mount your wireless receiver. You can just keep it in the case, pop it on a stand, and you're good to go in a matter of minutes. I mean, the same goes for packing it away. When you're finished up and you're trying to rush to pack everything away and get out of there, it takes minutes, and it is just, it's all contained in here. You can keep a small battery in the case, you can keep your wireless receiver in the case, your cables in the case, and just pack it all away, close it all up, throw it on your shoulder, and still carry camera bags and stuff. It sounds like a small detail, the carry case making or breaking a monitor, but really it's changed the whole experience of bringing this out of the studio into the field, onto a set, and working with it with clients, which is where I really get the benefit from a larger monitor like this, where the clients really appreciate it. But before, I just hated lugging along that larger monitor. And again, if you have a larger crew, maybe that's not as much of an issue, but I was working by myself most of the time, especially packing stuff up and putting it away. It was just a nightmare. If you're looking for a larger monitor, just get it. Like I said, unless you're in one of those specific 3 cases where you might need something different, this is going to make you very, very happy, and it's not going to get in the way, and it's not going to be a hassle, which I think were the main roadblocks for me for a larger monitor in my specific case. But to be fair, like I said, I do have some complaints. It's not perfect, so let's go over those 3 main complaints that I have right now. The first is that the sun flaps in that case are not removable. So you can open them, of course, but they're not removable, and because of gravity, they don't necessarily stay out of the way. So when you have that sun hood on, it's rather large, and you've got kind of tunnel vision into the monitor. So I would love, in a lot of cases, to just be able to remove those flaps and have, full view from different angles of the monitor like I do right now, but you can't without kind of rigging it up, which is what I do most of the time. And you'll see in the pictures, I just got some Velcro elastic straps, and I wrap them around those flaps and kind of tie them back out of the way most of the time when I'm using this, because most of the time, again, it's not an outdoor monitor for me. It's not necessarily the brightest for that situation, so I'm using it indoors most of the time, and I don't necessarily need a sunshade. So if those, maybe by Velcro or by a zipper, for example, were completely removable, then it would be great. But again, there are workarounds for it. It's not necessarily beautiful, but you can tie those flaps out of the way. But again, if you want to set it down on a table in the case, then again, those flaps, especially the bottom flap, are going to kind of get in the way. It can sit on the table, but it's not going to work perfectly in all cases. Now, speaking of putting it down on a table, the second complaint that I have is that while it does come with feet, they need little screws to attach it, and these are not like quick thumb screws. You need a tool, and they're tiny, and you're probably going to lose them, and you do need to use these to attach or detach the feet. And with these feet attached, it doesn't fit back into that case. So if you put these on, you're going to have to take them off again to be able to get the benefit of that super amazing convenient case. So I wish that either these feet did fit in the case, or that they were quicker and easier to attach and remove. Now, as a kind of counterpoint to both that first and second point, this is pretty simple and easy to remove from the case. When it's in there, but there are a couple of straps around the back of it that hold it in place. All I have to do is unclip those, and you can pull the monitor out and then use it like this, or put those feet on and use it on a table. Again, the feet have their own challenges, but generally speaking, this is easy enough to put into and remove from the carry case. So if you want to use it like this, it's not that big of a deal. And my third complaint was the same with the 21.5-inch monitor, is that when you're using battery power, like I am right now, you can't fully turn the power off without removing the battery, physically removing it from that battery plate. So there's a power switch in the back that only works for mains power. There's also a power button on the front, but that only puts it to sleep. Now it's still going to drain the power from your battery slowly, but it will still drain power from it. So if you want to pack this away into the case, if you want to pack this away into the case and then just transport it back and forth with the battery on, which a small compact battery does fit inside that case, you're going to open it up and the battery is going to be dead. So that's kind of annoying. I wish there was a switch that would completely just cut the power to the battery quicker and easier. Again, a couple options: remove the battery. Again, there are some pockets in the back of the case. You can slip that little compact V-mount battery into one of those pockets when you're transporting it. Second option is just unplug that little D-tap cable from the battery plate on the back. And then, you know, obviously it's not connected to the monitor, so problem solved. Not super elegant, and I wish there was a simpler way to do it, but for now that's complaint number 3. But for those people who are going to cut out here, I just want to quickly one more time summarize the fact that the convenience combined with the quality and the full feature set of this monitor completely outweigh those little inconveniences for me. And if I had to choose again, I would choose this monitor 100 times over. It is just a fantastic monitor, and it's been a huge help to have both here in the studio and on set with clients. So before we close this up, let's just give you a quick overview of the design, and then we're going to tune out of this video. So if you do have any other questions or comments, please leave them down below. Hopefully this was helpful for you in making a decision, but do let me know what you think down below. And if you found this video helpful, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing if you haven't already. Otherwise, as always, thank you for watching. Stick around to see more specifics and techie specs about this here monitor. So on the front, you have the input button to select which input you're using. You've got 4 arrow buttons for navigation, and the first 2 also access a handful of quick adjustments in their fast menu. The OK button also opens their menu, and we'll go through that in a second. Then you've got 4 function buttons, which you can customize to any of their assist features, and these do also double as quick switches between 4 user settings so that you can have 4 different combinations of custom functions and overall general setups for different types of uses. I personally love being able to switch between these quickly without having to dive into the menu like you do with some other monitors that also feature the user setting. Then finally, there's the power button, which is more like a standby button, as we saw. Now on the back, you have the cheese plate in the top corner, the V-mount plate over on the side, as well as the connection for wall power with the included cable, and a power switch that works with wall power. I actually lost the screw to tighten this down onto a C-stand, but you can see it works just fine with that mount in the center. Then on the left side again, you have 2 SDI inputs, a video in and SDI output, as well as an HDMI input, a USB port for loading LUTs, for example, a headphone and 3.5mm audio jack input, and finally 2 RS485 ports that I've honestly never used. When you open the menu, you've got some pages along the side, some techie stuff for color on the first page, input settings on the second, and then LUT settings on the third. After that, the page you really want to pay attention to is the fourth, since at first it looks like this is just to set your custom function buttons, but this is actually the page where you'll customize and control all of the functions themselves as well. Push the right arrow to jump into the menu, and if you keep pushing right, you'll go through 6 pages of settings. Starting on the first though, and you do have to keep going through until it loops back around to the first page, because pressing left actually leaves the submenu, it doesn't go back a page. You can set which of the 4 user presets you're customizing, and then set each of the custom buttons to one of the many assist features. Keep in mind that once you've selected an option, either on this page or any other page, pressing left will actually leave that option unchanged, resetting it to what it was before. To confirm your change when you make a change, you have to actually press the OK button. So now a quick look at the other pages here. The second page is for your audio setup if you need it. Then you've got all kinds of settings for different aspect markers, area markers, center markers, your matte settings, and more. The next page has your scopes, and you can see that you've got multiple types of waveform, and you can customize the size, location, and opacity of most of these as well. If you set waveform type to a custom function button, that button will cycle through the different types, not just turn it on and off. Now on page 5, we have your focus and exposure settings. Check out my video on Osee's focus assist and peaking settings, how they're different and how they work in combination with each other. I'll put a link for that down below. You also have the different types of false color that you see on most, if not all, Osee monitors, and of course zebras. And then on page 6 there are more, I guess you could call them basic settings, like display time before the menu closes automatically, your language settings, and firmware updates. If we now go down to the 5th page on the left side menu, I'll be fully honest with you here and say that I really don't know much about this page, but if you do, it's here. Finally, you have the option to lock the buttons, maybe if your client is using the monitor and you don't want them to mess anything up, for example. Once you set that and back out of the menu, the function keys won't do anything. The menu button is the only one that will work, and it will open back up to let you turn the key lock off. Anytime you want to back out of the menu, just push left a couple of times, and the menu will close down, and that's about all there is to it. Hopefully that helped out, but let me know if you have any questions, and thanks again for watching.